So, when we talk about divine guidance in the Quran, it's not really a one size fits all kind of thing. And today, we're going to unpack this really cool distinction between two super important ideas, HUKM and HiKMAH. Now, on the surface, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, once you get the difference, you'll see two totally different ways divine authority can work. So here's the big question, right? Is guidance from God like a direct, live command for one specific moment? Or is it more like a complete system, a framework of wisdom that's installed in a leader? That's really the heart of the difference between HUKM and HiKMAH. And understanding this, well, it completely changes how you see the role of a prophet. All right, let's dive in. First up, HUKM. Probably the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of it as a live, direct command. It's not a general principle, it's a specific instruction for right now. So HUKM is what you could call a live ruling. Imagine like a direct pipeline from God straight to the prophet. The key thing here is that the decision, the ruling, it isn't something the prophet comes up with. Nope, it's just delivered through them. They're the conduit for a very clear instruction meant for that exact situation. And when you look at how HUKM works, it's actually pretty straightforward. The decision comes straight from Allah as an instruction. This makes the prophet a real-time executor, Their main job is just to deliver that order and make sure it gets done. The pattern is super simple. Allah commands and boom, it's immediately implemented. Okay, so to make this totally crystal clear, let's look at a case study. And who better than the Prophet Musa? That's Moses. His whole mission is just a perfect example of this HUKM model in action. You probably know the famous story of the cow from the Quran, right? Well, pay close attention to how Musa phrases things. He doesn't say, hey guys, I think you should, or, here's a good idea. Not at all. He says it plainly. Indeed, Allah commands you. He's acting as a direct channel for that divine order. And that's so important because it means his authority in that moment doesn't come from his own personal judgment. It comes from one thing and one thing only, being the faithful messenger of God's command. He's not the judge here. He's just the one delivering the HUKM. So the process here is just a straight line, a direct chain of command. Step 1, the people have a question or a problem, they bring it to Musa. Step 2, Musa doesn't sit there and think about it himself. He says Allah says and relays the answer. And step 3, the community's job is just to carry out that command. That's it. Simple, direct, immediate. So, to sum up this first idea, let's just call it the Musa model. It's basically a direct command pipeline. And HUKM, well, that's the specific order flowing right through it. All right, now let's switch gears and talk about our second big concept, HiKMAH. And this is a totally different way of looking at divine guidance. If HUKM was the live, one-time command, think of HiKMAH as the installed system. See, HiKMAH isn't about just one ruling. It's the whole framework, the entire system of authority. It's not the single command itself, but it's like the engine that produces the right rulings over and over again. It's a complete judgment system. So with HiKMAH, that system is installed. And this completely transforms the prophet's role. They go from being just an executor to being an empowered judge. They can actually rule on new situations directly without needing a brand new command from God for every single case. The whole pattern shifts, right? It goes from Allah commands this to we made you a khalifa, so now you judge. And you guessed it, we've got a perfect case study for this model of installed authority. We're talking about the prophet Dawood, or David. His story just nails what HiKMAH is all about. This one verse from the Quran is absolutely key. Check out the language here. Allah says, "O David, we have made you a khalifa on earth." A khalifa, that's the successor, an authority figure. The instruction here isn't a one-off command for a specific problem. It's this huge, broad mandate to govern, to judge between the people with truth, using the entire system he's been given. So think back to Musa and the cow. Unlike him, Dawood isn't just waiting around for a new order to come down that divine pipeline for every single case. Nope. The authority, the wisdom, that whole judgment framework, it's already with him. It's been installed. He has the complete toolkit to make the right call himself. And this, naturally, is what we're going to call the Dawood model. It's not a pipeline for single commands. It's a complete self-contained judgment system. Okay, so we've looked at both models, the live command and the installed system. Now let's put them side by side for the final showdown. This is where it all comes together and gets super clear. Okay, let's break this table down. On one side, you've got HUKM, the Musa model. Its very nature is a live command execution. On the other side, HiKMAH, the Dawood model, which is an installed authority system. This completely flips the prophet's role, right? From a real-time executor to an empowered judge, or Khalifa. And the process? Well, Musa transmits specific orders, while Dawood gets to judge new cases directly. So if you want to remember it easily, just think HUKM is the direct command pipeline and HiKMAH is the complete judgment toolkit. Honestly, if you only remember one thing from all this, make it this. Musa receives orders and executes them. That's HUKM. Dawood is installed with a full judgment system. That's HiKMAH. It's command versus system. Simple as that. And this all leads us to a really big final question, doesn't it? When you see the shift from a direct command model to a fully installed system of wisdom, that's a pretty fascinating development. So what does that evolution tell us about the very nature of divine guidance? And maybe, just maybe, about our own capacity to handle that kind of authority. Now that is something to think about.